Hey, everybody. Today we're talking about a really important conversation, and that is how to lean in to people, to your community when life gets complicated. Because we know in midlife, life can get really complicated fast. And I know firsthand about that. Alex knows firsthand about that. And so
Mm.
does our guest, the amazing Toni Collier. And she is someone who writes about this and who has a new book about this called Don't Try This Alone: How to Build Deep Community When You Want to Hide from Your Pain. And I think we can all relate to that. Toni, if you don't know her, she's incredible. She is the founder of Broken Crayons Still Color, a global women's ministry, and the host of the Still Coloring podcast. I love that name so much, Toni. She is real. She is full of grace and grit. She's passionate. She is so darling. I mean, literally, she just jumps on and she just brings her joy right when she shows up wherever she is, including our screen today. And she's a frequent speaker at Elevation Church and the If Gatherings. So you may have seen her there. So, Toni, welcome. We are so glad to have you.
Hi, y'all. It's happening. I'm so glad to be here. We're going to have some fun today.
Well, so let's just jump right in, Toni. Hard seasons, man, they have hit me hard in
Yeah.
the last years. And I think I speak for a lot of us in midlife when we say that, wow, didn't
Yeah.
see that one coming. Yet when we go through hard seasons, we
Yeah.
often want to hide. So why is that? What's happening inside of us?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's two-part. I think for me, I would say over the past 2 years, I have probably experienced one of the most painful seasons of my life. Just for context, I have walked through a very hard public divorce. And divorce is hard. We know that. It's a severing. It's not God's design. Like, we just know it. Public divorce is horrific. I'm just going to put that out there here on the table.
Mhm.
And for me, the reason why I even chose divorce is because in September of 2023, my ex husband gave me a phone call and admitted that he was being extorted. He had hired someone for sexual favors, and this was not the first time in our marriage that it had happened. And there just wasn't repentance and no real healing. And so I ended up realizing that our marriage was no longer God honoring and that I needed to leave. And I think the source of disappointment, especially here in the middle of my life, was like, now, wait a minute, God. Like, didn't we already go through enough? Like, weren't the 20s
Mhm.
the refining years
Mhm.
already? Like, haven't I already dusted off all the ratchetness, party girl from high school and college? I've given my life to Jesus. I've done the things, okay? I've been married. I am now remarried. And I think, like, man, this is like my redemption story. Like, I'm about to sail into the sunset. And no, it's not the end of the story. And I think what happens is we expect that if we plant all the seeds and we water them well, then a harvest should come and we should just be in harvest season.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's just not true. And so I
Mhm.
think that's why we get so disappointed in midlife, because we've done so much work. We've worked so hard for years to get to a point where we've got a solid foundation in our lives. And when that gets uprooted and set ablaze, I think it's just shocking. I also would say that the second part of that question, I think we hide when we're in pain because we kind of have like muscle memory. Painful memories in the past have probably said to us that people are going to leave the room because what we're going through is too heavy. Or we're going to bring our pain to someone and they're going to respond in a way that's not the best. And it's going to hurt us even more. Like, we have these experiences, these real valid experiences of really hard things happening and people not handling it well. And so
Mhm.
we look forward into these future painful seasons and we're like, well, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to trust again. I'm not going to tell anyone again. They may leave the room. They may betray me. They may respond in the wrong way. So I just would rather shoulder it by myself with the risk of it crushing me than to trust again, believe again, get back up again. So I think that's why we do it.
And I could hear someone saying, with good reason, I want to protect myself because I want to be wise. I don't want to
Yeah.
just walk into the same relational
Yeah.
patterns over and over. So if you're feeling that, I hear
Yeah.
it and I
Yeah.
understand it. And yet the risk of being alone is what we're fighting against. So can you talk about that?
Yeah.
Like, why care?
Yeah.
Why try again?
Well, friends, I'm so sorry, but there's a difference between boundaries and isolation, a real big old difference. And we can have boundaries because boundaries are biblical. I mean, God let Adam and Eve frolic around like little Teletubbies in the Garden of Eden, and they could do anything and interface with anything except for that one tree, right? So that was a boundary. We can have healthy boundaries in relationships, not to somehow prohibit pain, because like there's going to be rupture in relationships. As we mature in life, we're going to know that we're imperfect, we're wired for struggle. Our relationships are going to have ruptures. What doesn't ruin relationships is ruptures. It's the lack of repair that's the problem. And I think boundaries help to influence how we repair relationships. Isolation, on the other hand, is I'm just going to pretend like I'm not a human that needs other people and I'm going to hide. And that's where shame sets in. That's where numbing sets in. That's where we see addiction grow. How do I know it? Not because I am some amazing leader that's condemning you, but as someone that has actually seen what it looks like to try to heal or to try to process pain by myself. And what I ran to was partying, drinking, drugs, boys, everybody's son. I mean, all these different things. And for some of us, that's shopping, Netflix binging, one too many little glasses of wine at night, because we just weren't designed to carry things alone. And so the pain could either point us to the hands of people that are safe enough to hold the pain, or it could point us to destruction. And it's really our choice at the end of the day.
Yeah. You just said something I think really important there. And that is that it can point us to really safe people. And I think that also in midlife is hard because we've had some experiences with people who aren't safe. We've lived enough life. I keep saying that to my kids. I'm like, listen to me. I've lived enough life. I know some things. And I know that to be true in female friendships. People have been burned. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about safe people and unsafe people. And how do you not step into a viper den?
Yeah. You know, it's interesting to me because as I've been talking about my new book, you know, it sounds kind of like I'm talking about dating, like how to find like the red flags in friendship and how to find really godly good friends and what characteristics to look for. And I think it's no coincidence that for generations, we have really challenged people to have boundaries and guardrails and expectations when it comes to dating. For some odd reason, we don't do that with friendship, right? So we'll go on a date and say, you know what, that person doesn't have this characteristic that I really, really value and this characteristic. So, you know what, that's not the person for me, but I'll get up and try again. We don't do that with friendship for some reason, but we should. We should be looking for people that has characteristics of a good friend, generosity. I hate saying this because I'm a Teletubby and I'm extroverted and I really genuinely love everyone, but your safe people probably need to have some sort of moral compass. And the best moral compass, in my personal opinion, is that of the Lord and not that of the world. So I'm not saying that your friends need to believe in Jesus, but maybe they do so that they can have a moral compass. Also, why haven't we challenged our friends or the people that we bring close to be on a healing and wholeness journey? Like, if your friends are just kind of stumbling through life chaotically, and I would say for a lot of my friends in midlife, like there's just hasn't been any healing. There's been years and years of really hard story, really painful things. And the common phrase is, well, I'm too old to change. Oh, well, I'm set in my ways now. There's no way to go back. But I don't want that kind of friend. I want the kind of friend that says my best years are ahead. I want to be the best version of myself for my children, my grandkids, the next generation that comes after me, for my friends. And so I think we just have to start getting good at being able to identify good friends. And I think that starts with identifying where we can be a good friend, where we need to be on our own healing journey so that we even have the wisdom to identify safe people.
Okay, so
Okay.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a number of people in my life that I really feel like God has called me to be a good friend to them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that I am opening my heart to
good.
them, as far as they're not necessarily my safe people. So
That's
can
good.
we distinguish between that?
Let's talk about it.
And that sometimes we are called to be a friend,
Yep.
but that doesn't mean that we are expecting the same type of trustworthiness,
Yeah.
and that isn't a level of mutuality. That I think
Yeah.
real deep friendship has two things. It has
Yeah.
proximity, in
Ooh,
that
come on.
we may have a lot of things that we are connecting about frequently. So they doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean proximity like you're in the same room as me, because like Krista and I are good friends and we live states away from each other.
Yeah.
But it's that ability to be proximate in
Yeah.
the things that we're working on, the sharing frequently, but then
Yeah.
also mutuality. We both have to hold some weight in the relationship.
That's good.
But sometimes we are the one that's holding the weight. And I think that's
Yeah.
okay, as long as our expectations aren't that that person is going to be someone that they're not.
Yeah. So it's expectations and it's communicating those expectations.
Mm.
I have made this mistake so many times. I am so friendly. I love everybody. I'm just a bopping around. And people sometimes believe that we are closer to each
Mhm.
other than we actually are. And it is my responsibility to clearly communicate the expectations and parameters of our friendship and relationship. And we see that honestly with Jesus. Like, even Jesus had friendship circles. His most intimate circle was like him and Daddy God. Okay. Like, just nobody could get in that little circle. It was him. He went away and spent time with God. Outside of that, people would think that it was all 12 disciples, and it wasn't. It was three: Peter, James, and John. He brought them close, especially in his most intimate moment in the Garden of Gethsemane. Outside of that were the other disciples and the women that traveled with him. Outside of that were the 72. Outside of that were the masses that got healed. Outside of that were the Pharisees and the teachers of the law. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law could not come to the Garden of Gethsemane. They were not invited, even though they bombarded it, okay? They were not invited because it was an intimate space.
Mm-hmm.
How much more can we build friendship circles so that we can, one, identify who our safe people are for us, but so that we can also communicate where people are so that they know where they are in our circle. And I just don't think we do that. We talk about the dating phase in dating. We talk about courtship. We talk about, okay, now we're official, and then there's fiance, then there's marriage, but we don't do that with friends, and we need to. For me, those conversations have been hard because I, again, Teletubby, but I've had to have them. I've had to say, hey, in this season, I'm in a healing season. I'm in some deep pain. I'm going to bring a couple of really close friends close. That may mean that we may talk less, connect less, hang out less. But I want you to know that I'm here. I'm just going deep with a few. And I just think we have to get more comfortable with giving clarity to that and just talking about it. Like, where do you see our friendship? What level are we on? What are we going deep on and what are we not? Like, what are you trusting me with and what are you not trusting me with? And I think having those conversations helps give us clarity so that we can have balanced, good, healthy friendships.
How does that go over, Toni? I'm thinking of being on the other side of that conversation and going, well, now I'm hurt, Toni, because I wanted to be one of the people in your circle and I wanted to walk with you through that healing, and you're not choosing me.
Well, number one, I think that desire for belonging is in all of us. And we have to be healthy enough to understand that someone saying they don't have the capacity to have everyone super close isn't a shot at your identity. To be able to actually hold that and process it and not view it as rejection is a form of health. I had this situation happen literally last month. I invited a whole bunch of people to my birthday party because that's what I do, even strangers. I'm just like, everybody come, yeah, hang out. And I had a girl, she messaged me and said, hey, like, thank you so much for the invite, but I don't know if I want to come because we're not really close. And I'm really wanting to have more close friends and show up for more close friends. And so I'm just interested in what that looks like with you and how we can be closer. And I just was honest. I said, man, I totally understand if you don't want to come to my birthday. I totally get it. And also, I just want you to know that I have brought some really close people into my story and some of my painful parts of my story. And I don't have a lot of capacity right now to bring anybody else in that close. I would begin to not be a good friend, not be able to show up for my friends or my children who come first before my friends. And so right now I don't have that capacity. And if it makes you uncomfortable to be at my party, I totally understand. You don't have to come. I totally get it. I hope that's okay. And her response was, thank you for being honest. I can respect that boundary because I get it. We don't have an infinite amount of time in the day. And I wouldn't want you to be a bad friend to the people that you've already created space for because you're trying to go above your capacity. I totally get it. I think that's a healthy response.
Gosh, that is a fascinating, like I've never received a text like that. That's really interesting that she sent you that text and then that you responded the way you did. And I think that's just going to cause all of us to think.
Yeah. Well, she has children and she is also weighing out her capacity and time. Like, if I'm going to get a babysitter for the night, come to Toni's party, I want there to be some intention behind it. Me being honest, well, first of all, if I would have said to her, oh my gosh, girl, come, like, let's be friends, knowing I don't have the capacity, it would be worse because I'm leading her on. Again, it's like dating. Can you imagine someone dragging you along for a relationship they don't even intend with you? It's not kind. It's not kind. And we have to start doing that with friendship.
I'm thinking of like that He's Just Not That Into You movie. And like, let's flip that to friendship. Like, okay, if you have someone who's not telling you, but is telling you, she's just not that into you. Let it go. Let that friendship go.
Let it go. So that you can make space for the people that are that into you.
Right. Yes.
Okay, let's talk to the woman who maybe feels like not that many people are into me. Like I'm feeling, because this has been a conversation of abundance. Like I'm setting boundaries because so many people want to be friends with me. And I know I will join you in that. I have one approach I have done sometimes with people that have said, I'd love to spend more time with you. And especially when my kids were little and I felt like I have 0 extra hours in my day. I have invited them to be places I know I'm already going to be. Like, hey, my MOPS group, come and you can sit at my table. Come to the basketball game. I'm going to be there. Let's watch it together. But, and I think there are probably women listening who are like, I really am lonely. I'm desperately lonely. And I don't have the luxury of setting boundaries because I feel like, where are the people? Where are my friends?
Yeah. I talked about this a little bit with Annie F. Downs. We were talking a lot about single women, especially. I'm single now, which is so weird to even say that after being married. And I'm telling you, a lot of times when we get down to it, it is not at all that there aren't people around us. It's that we're not brave enough to talk to them. And we have used Band-Aids and crutches to isolate ourselves. Like, well, I live in a small town. Well, I am introverted. Well, every time I tried, no one answered. And I'm sorry, y'all. You got to get back up again. You got to go back to the grocery store. You got to pray about it. I mean, I remember praying for friends and feeling so like childish. Like, hey, God, like, I don't have anyone that, and let me say this. For some of us, like for me, I have a really wild past, party girl, all the things. I realized that all of my friends were not friends I needed in my life because I was trying my best, at least, to live a godly life. And I couldn't do that with the friends that I had. And so there was a season where I was very lonely. And I just said, Lord, like, can you please send me some friends? And he sent all of one. Just one singular soul that loved Jesus, that had been through divorce before. And she didn't look anything like me. She didn't live anything like me. Like, I just walked into a green room one day and she was sitting there. Her name is Erin Eddy. I will never forget it. And she's tiny, blonde hair, tatted up, sleeves, red, popping lipstick. If you can't see me, I'm black. I wouldn't say I'm like tall, but I'm a little tall. Like totally different. She grew up in purity culture. I grew up in the club. Like it just totally opposite. And I went up to her and I said, hi. I was like, I know your name because you own an organization called So Worth Loving. And I have a So Worth Loving shirt. And I just want to say thank you so much. I'm in a season where I just am looking for friends. And if you're ever, and she like cuts me off and she's like, Toni, I know who you are. So many people keep saying like, oh my gosh, you and Toni would be great friends, da 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 da. The rest is literally history. She is one of the first people I call when I'm in pain. We have helped each other through seasons of all kinds of stuff. And it was just one for years. And then slowly but surely, the Lord sent other friends. But it took me saying an honest, childish prayer and walking up to her and starting and engaging a conversation. And this is after I'd lost all my friends. We got to get back up again. And we got to stop making excuses to be isolated. It is not our design. Therefore, there is an antidote. There is an answer to it. And it's probably going to start with your bravery.
Yeah. Alex and I have a friend who she had a lot of virtual friends, but she didn't have a lot of people in her own community. And so she made the decision. She said, all right, we were together at a retreat. And she said, I'm going to go back and I'm going to circle people in my own community and I'm just going to invite them. And I'm going to see what happens because I have no one in my community that's in the flesh with me. And a year later, she had so many incredible stories of what happened. And she's like, I now have friends in my community. But she had to be brave enough, courageous enough to do the inviting. And then she had to practice vulnerability and lead them in that way. So anyway, here's what I want to hear. Whether you have had to pare down and you now have your few safe people, or you're like our friend and you've gathered some people, how do you go about walking through your hard season? Is there oversharing? Is there undersharing? Like, what does it look like for you, Toni?
Yeah. Well, I've been in what's called a confessional community for 4 years now. We just had our 5th annual healing retreat that we do. We bring a psychiatrist in, and confessional community, I mean, it's just about as scary as you would actually think. Okay. We meet every single year for an in-person retreat. And then every month we get on a 3-hour Zoom call and we confess. And it's intense. And it's a testament to living on the offense, not the defense. These women I've had in my life for 4 years. So 2 years ago, when my whole world fell apart and I got a call from my ex-husband that he was being extorted by someone that he hired for sexual favors, and this was a pattern of infidelity in our marriage, and I realized that my marriage was no longer God-honoring and I needed to leave, I had an army of people on the sidelines waiting to catch me, waiting to tag me in or tag them in and put them in the game so that I could get rest on the sidelines. And I think for many of us, that should be the goal. How can I build a fearless team of people who's there when life gets so hard? And for many of us, it's about the breadcrumbs. I think it's about the tiny little steps. It's I can share with you that I got overwhelmed by my kid and yelled a little bit, because that's a small little breadcrumb. And next time I can maybe share that I had an argument with my husband in my marriage. And maybe I can also then share with you about my fears about all my children leaving and therefore my worth as a mom leaving as well. Like, I can do it piece by piece, crumb by crumb, so we can build trust over time instead of just going all in. Now, I'm an all in or nothing type of girl, so this is hard for me, okay? I want to tell everybody all my business. And all my business already on the internets, okay? So it is very difficult for me to just like trust slowly, but I think it's healthy. I think it's a part of even the way that the Lord has given us access to him. Tiny little, I can trust you with this and trust you with this and trust you with more. We have to get good at taking our friendships slow and identifying those few people little by little with very small things that we can trust them with, so that over time we have the safety built up to share really big, hard things.
Confessional community, is that a Kurt Thompson concept?
Okay, so Kurt is the psychiatrist that we bring in every year. So last weekend we had our 5th annual retreat, and it's changed our lives. And for those of you that is like, what is even that? A confessional community essentially is a small group that is designed to carry pain. Like, this is what it is for. It is a safe environment, not because of the environment or where we meet or the Zoom call, because none of that's actually safe. It's because of the people are safe. We are all equally coming in with our griefs and our longings, and we're carrying things with each other. And Kurt has introduced this concept to us that I also put in the book, and it's the 4 S's: to be seen, soothed, safe, and secure. And that's what we practice in this community. And y'all, it is about the best thing. And if you're ever even looking to start something like that, really it starts with, who are your people right now? And how deep are you willing to go with them? And how can you invite them into a much deeper friendship?
We've had Kurt on the podcast a couple of times, and when he talks about the brain and what happens to the brain, and you said something earlier in the interview about repair, and you know, that just all of this goes together, right? Is this having these safe places and sharing and having this safe community. And then when we rupture, we have repair with one another. And even just what it does physiologically in our brain is unbelievable. I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Again, let me just say this. A lot of times our pain and our inability to trust again is not because ruptures happened in the relationship, because we're imperfect and we're wired for struggle, and there's going to be ruptures and we're going to say something wrong and something rude's going to come. I mean, all the things. It was the lack of repair. That is what is driving you towards isolation, driving you away from trusting again, building again, believing in people again, because literally someone hurt your feelings and they never repaired it. And I'm telling you, bonds are built in our confessional community. We have had ruptures before, absolutely. It truly is not the rupture that does anything for the confessional community, but the repair, my goodness. I'm telling you, redemption is just sweet in every way, because that's what it is. It's redemption. And when you redeem a relationship, there's a solid foundation that's built that just, it changes you. It really just changes you. Okay, off my redemption soapbox.
No, it's true. And repair takes humility. And it takes saying, I was wrong. It takes saying, I made a mistake. And that's hard. And I don't know why that's so hard for us, but dang, is it hard for us to do. And that's where it's like, all right, who are we before God? Like, let's get right ordered before God, because then when we are right ordered, that's so much easier to do than if we're the God in our own life. Then we can't admit mistakes. I mean, one of the things Jim Murphy, he wrote a book called Inner Excellence, and I love it so much. And he talks about 3 things. He says, be unembarrassable, be unoffendable, and be unirritable. So he talks about like these 3 pillars. It's so good. But one of the things about the unembarrassable is like pride, stand down. Like whatever it is, pride, stand down, because when you're unembarrassable, it means even when you make a mistake, or when you screw up or whatever, that rupture is present. You are unembarrassable about it. You just say, I was wrong. Please forgive me. And that is a game changer. That will change your life.
Yeah. Even when you say the words, I was wrong, please forgive me. Like, I don't even know why, but that, like, it just makes me feel so seen, so respected, so soothed. When you can offer that to someone, like, oh my goodness, what I said hurt you. I'm so sorry. The power in that, I just think, I mean, can you imagine a world of people who are like, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Clean our hands, keep it going. It's a beautiful world to be able to admit it. And we see it from the beginning of time, how difficult it is. Why are you hiding, says the Lord. They don't want to say it. They want to hide. It is in our DNA to hide when we do something we're not supposed to do. And I just think that God is calling us from behind the bushes and saying, come on, show people that we're broken and we're flawed and we're still worthy of love and belonging. It's just so much more powerful, I think. I love it. I just love it. Yeah, I just love it.
So good. Okay, well, Toni, what other resources have been helpful for you as you've walked through your hard seasons? Like what, I mean, obviously your confessional community has been vital and central and truly life-saving in so many ways.
Yes.
What else?
Okay, so there's 2 books that I read during just these past 2 years by Lisa TerKeurst, Good Boundaries and Goodbyes. Oh my gosh. It influenced a lot of my new book. And it's because I'm a recovering people pleaser. And a lot of times I get hurt in relationships, not even because the person hurt me, but because I didn't have boundaries to protect them and me. And so building and understanding boundaries, clarifying, like we talked about, where friends are in my life and who is actually safe and not safe and who's also on their healing journey has been profound for me. The second thing is another book by Lisa Turkers, I won't lie. It's Forgiving What You Can't Forget. And I'm going to be honest with everybody watching in. I have started it 2 times because I'm so mad I don't want to forgive. Okay. I've walked through a hard season where it's been very difficult to forgive my ex-husband. Very. Especially when you don't get repentance and you just have to own the forgiveness for yourself. So I've started that book twice. And here is what it has helped me do. It has helped me remember that the people that deeply betrayed me, that hurt me, they don't get to have my future relationships. They've already taken enough. They've already done enough damage. They do not get to have the beauty of my future relationships. And standing on that has totally changed the game for me, because now I go into new relationships without baggage, without mistrust, without hesitation. I can create beauty in future relationships, even knowing that there is still the potential that I will get hurt. But because I've stood back up again, I have seen what it looks like to have 1 healthy relationship and then 2 healthy relationships. And then somewhere, somehow, God's healed my brain to the point where I'm like, yes, this could go south, but man, it's so worth it to try. The risk is worth it because I've seen people save you. I've seen people give me furniture for my new house for me and my kids. I've seen people pay for my counseling when I had to get off the road and heal. I have seen people save me and my kids. And I'm just so lucky and blessed and glad that I didn't allow past betrayal to keep me from the beauty of a really beautiful, flourishing community. So yeah. Oh, and counseling, what y'all talking about? Counseling? Lord, I'm only able not to carry baggage to my future relationships because I have a counselor that's like, let's heal those things so you don't bring that into the new things. So go to counseling. No matter how old or young, seasoned, wisdom, wise you are, sit down and get some help, okay?
Can you talk quickly about what is the difference between your confessional community and counseling?
Yeah. My confessional community is the second layer to my processing hard things. The first layer has to be the expert. It's one-on-one. I'm processing it. I'm even identifying and getting language around what I feel to be able to even bring that into the confessional community. Because without it, now this is a buzzword, but it's true. Without it, I'm just trauma dumping. I'm actually not processing. I'm just trauma dumping. And how selfish is it to put on our friends who are not experts in processing emotions what could have been put on an expert who can actually carry and hold it, help us process it, help us get to a place of healing so that when we do invite our people, like our confessional community in, it is a more healthy, seamless conversation and they don't become our saviors. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk a lot in my job around this idea of professionals versus people who aren't paid in your life. So for people who've experienced trauma, they often have to have the professionals to do some things.
That's good.
But don't underestimate the power of people who are not paid to be in your life, because they are choosing it and they are offering themselves simply because they love you and not because it's their job. So I would say for a woman who is going to counseling already and saying, I've got a counselor, I'm good. Right. To remember that there's a dynamic there because you're paying that person or somebody is paying, your insurance is paying or something. That's their job to be there. That is different than a friend. A friend is somebody who chooses to be there.
That's really good. And how much more does that mean?
Right.
You know, that someone comes and says, I'm with you and I'm not leaving the room. Not because I need to, but because I want to.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
Powerful. Toni, thank you for coming on today. What an encouragement.
Yay.
And we love your new book. Your new book
Thank
is
you.
fabulous, fantastic. And I know it's going to change lives, just like Lisa Turker's changed yours.
Truly.
Yes.
That was good.